Welcome everyone. It's Giving Tuesday here at Construction Cares, and we are so glad you could join us for a Mental Health Minute. We are excited to share a short feature entitled Life on the Other Side. But before we show you the video, let me just introduce myself and share with you my why behind Construction Cares. My name is Rachel Ivy, and I am the founder of Construction Cares, and my why can simply be summed up by a quote from Marian Wright Edelman. Service is the rent we pay for just being. Construction Cares was born out of a need to provide emotional, financial, and educational support to members of our construction community. In my work with Communities Empowered Through Construction, I saw firsthand how emotionally abusive the industry could be for people of color. Many experience racism, sexism, and work in very hostile environments daily. The work is physically demanding and riddled with systematic biases. They are typically last to be hired and first to be fired. This cyclical nature of employment can be financially draining on families. Now, add the burden of years of disinvestments in our communities, the intentional neglect of our schools, generational poverty, and then be expected to navigate a system that was never designed with you in mind. This is why we need your help. Together, Construction Cares and you can make a difference. I'm turning a big 45 in a few weeks, and I would love it if you would help us by donating as little as $45 or any combination of 4 and a 5. So go right now and donate at www.constructioncare.org.
Construction Cares was started to help meet the mental and financial needs of the construction candidates that we serve, like paying rent and things of that nature. But today, we get to assist with paying utilities. On behalf of Construction Cares, Mr. Allen, thank you for being one of our gracious candidates.
Thank you, Construction Cares.
Welcome back to Construction Cares Giving Tuesday and the premiere of our short film, Life on the Other Side. My name is LaFrancis Ivy, and I'm the Director of Programming here at Construction Cares. Can you imagine being on the verge of a life-changing career opportunity only to watch it slip away because you owe $300 in parking tickets, or being forced to choose between a mental health break because you have lost back-to-back loved ones to violence, or keep your job? What about being forced to take a month off because of an unexpected surgery? In construction, if you don't work, you don't earn any hours towards your insurance. The support we give can make a huge difference in the lives and families and the communities of those we serve. Our work is so important to maintaining a diverse and healthy construction industry, which is why I am asking you to make a tax-deductible donation this Giving Tuesday to provide more mental health, check-ins, more housing assistance, and more things like driver's license reinstatements. So let's take a quick break so you can hit that donate button at www.constructioncare.org.
Finding consistent work in the construction industry can be tough. Workers frequently experience extended periods of unemployment, and when they aren't working, it can have a devastating impact on their entire family. Many of these workers don't qualify for unemployment benefits. Gaps in employment can lead to the loss of healthcare coverage. Without consistent income, workers can face food insecurity and the threat of losing their homes. And if all of that wasn't enough, many of these workers are also coping with the effects of senseless acts of violence in their communities. But Construction Cares. We are a nonprofit organization dedicated to supporting vulnerable members of the construction workforce by addressing the mental, emotional, and financial strains they experience in an industry with a history of racial and gender discrimination. We provide support services, training, and programming that eliminates many of the barriers to entry for displaced workers, including legal counseling, rental assistance, union dues, childcare, and transportation assistance. Too often, hard-working individuals face unexpected challenges that impact their ability to afford their family's basic needs. We believe in removing as many obstacles as possible so they can focus on doing their best on the job. Our investment in these workers is an investment in healthy families, strong communities, and a thriving city. You can support our efforts to help those in the construction industry who need it most. Donate today.
Welcome back. And if you're just tuning in, welcome to Construction Cares Giving Tuesday. It's showtime. But before we get started, just want to give you a little background on the short film, Life on the Other Side. In the video, we get to take a closer look into the lives of a few young men who have seen some pretty dark places, but are committed to making a change. But before we show you our feature, we wanted to make sure you had time to make a tax-deductible donation. So go now to www.constructioncare.org before the video starts and donate.
There are currently 2 million people in the nation's jails and prisons, a 500% increase over the last 4 decades. Our current penal system has left us with overcrowded prisons, broken families, and devastated communities.
My name is Lamont Williams, 47 years of age.
My name is Tremaine Leggins.
Well, my name's Sam Tart, 4th year apprentice, carpenter.
Starting my life in and out of jails. You know, I grew up in a project.
I got out of prison in 2017. I did 25 years actually. Went in when I was 19.
In '95, I caught a case and went to prison for 22 and a half years.
Incarceration takes a serious toll on mental health for several reasons. People can experience a loss of purpose when they're locked up. Many people incarcerated may experience depressive disorders, anxiety disorders, or PTSD.
What we fail to realize and that people don't talk about is depending on how long they've been in jail, when did they went in, they suffer from PTSD as well. Because if you went in as a young man and you come out as an older man, everything is cool at first because you're just happy to be out. You don't, in your mind, you're not going back. But then it's so easy to fall back into those old patterns.
The life in jail, everything's on someone else's time. Your feelings are not valid. Every second of incarceration, you're being torn down. From the way people speak to you, to the way they treat you, to the whole system. I believe that if I had stayed in that longer, I would have been totally institutionalized, meaning like there would have been nothing no one can do to help me.
Prison is like it's a place where you go to die, basically, if you want to die. So when I was in there, I just wanted to change myself and be better, be an inspiration, more so for my kids. I left kids behind as well. And I gained a child while I was in prison. I got married while I was in prison.
It didn't change me in a good way because, as I said, I was a repeat offender. I had got used to it. And I didn't have no kind of guidance. I didn't know nothing about the right way. And I thought the way I was going was the right way. Just do whatever you can to survive, you know, and jail's just gonna be my outcome. But once I was given a chance to work construction and someone hired an ex-felon, and I got a chance to rejuvenate myself, you know, to see who I am. At first I didn't know who I was. I was just going with the flow of life.
Life in the penitentiary, you have no choices. You know, somebody is breathing down your neck, telling you what to do, when to eat, when you can leave the cell, when you can make a phone call, when you get your mail, when you can go to the store. It's very regimented. Imagine living in your bathroom with another person. They using the bathroom while you eating or trying to eat. You sleeping and they making noise.
Research shows that exposure to violence while in prison creates emotional distress. In addition, exposure to violence has a direct impact on how well individuals adjust to life outside of prison.
In prison, it's a lot of hatred, just people just miserable and lonely. In prison, they treat you like you're second class, told that you're not going to be anything. And, you know, people believe that. People succumb to that. You know, being away from their family, losing family in there, being told what to do. You know, I've seen guys lose their mind in there. Guys that I actually knew when I came in with some really bright guys. As time went on, I seen they lost their mind because they couldn't handle the pressure of being in prison. Prison will break you if you're not strong enough to deal with it.
Mentally, it breaks you down. Start loneliness, depression, insecurities. It makes you start to hate yourself. You become a person that you don't recognize because you never knew your own self.
Getting out of prison can both be exciting and stressful. Most prisoners lost family members even before they returned.
Thinking about my present circumstances, and then I'm thinking about my future, how I would want my future to be. And so I knew that I couldn't leave the penitentiary in the same mental state that I came in as. So that's why I went to school. That's why I, stayed out the way of trouble, because I wanted to come home. I lost my mom. I lost the majority of my family while incarcerated. My mother, my father, my grandparents.
Lost my mom, lost my father, as well as my only sister by my mom, and countless relatives and friends, and I lost my relationship with my children.
You know, my mom used to be my support, and my brother, that was my family. In the midst of me being incarcerated, I lost my mom and my brother. So I was really scared when I got out the last time, because I didn't even know where I was going to lay my head at the first night, let alone eat. Sitting on that bus stop, and you get the jumpsuit on, and you get the little $100 they give you. You sit on that bus, wait on that Greyhound, and you like out of town. You don't know my mom had died. So, that's where all my money orders was coming from. That's where all my books, whatever she sent me, my music was coming from. That's where my life was coming from. While I was in there, I didn't know how to jail. I stayed on my bunk, and I was a mama's boy. And when she passed, and I was sitting on that bench going home, I didn't know where I was going.
People leaving prison face huge obstacles in rebuilding their lives.
Individuals need to want better for themselves. They need to want a different life. They need to understand their actions, think over the lives and the decisions that they have made thus far, see how it has impacted them and where they have gotten. It is important to look at the losses that they have experienced. Sometimes the losses can help an individual move forward and away from the life that they have had thus far. There's a lot of programs that speak to the help that they can provide to an individual, such as job readiness and job training. However, when people are being released, they have kids that they need to go back home to. They have families that they need to feed. They have the desire to work right away so that they can start earning money. And a lot of these job readiness programs are not pay right away. And so therefore, the patience and the willingness becomes more of a distraction and not so much a desire for them, because they're still looking for that quick fix, so to say, to get back on their feet. So we need something that will train them but pay them all at the same time.
When I came home from the joint, it was hard. It was like, I paroled to a halfway house. every day I would get up and look for work, look for a job, because I knew that I had to take care of myself. So I recall I walked so much when I was in a halfway house. I walked holes in my shoes.
You know, everything I did was to prepare me for getting out to society. I went to school and, because I was in there with, staff, and I still asked them questions about what's going on in society, because when you're in prison, you're pretty much locked away from the world. I was nervous when I first got out. I was gone for 25 years. I was nervous. I didn't even sleep for the last 2 days of me getting out. That was like my last 2 days, like my first 2 days going in prison.
This cycle of recidivism can have a devastating impact on the lives of offenders, their victims, and their families.
The impact of recidivism, there's a few things to take into consideration. One, overall, how it impacts the community.
They can come home and you can have them set up for life. Good job, apartment, family living, all that. And then 2 years later, a year later, they have nothing. They're back to pretty much like it was. Like if they came home and they had to go to a halfway house and they didn't have that support.
I work with my clients to help them understand that jail is not where they want to be. One, I do a lot of language control, so to say. A lot of my clients refer to each other as cellie or inmates, or say that our unit or our program is the deck. And I'm like, you're not in jail anymore. Like reminding them that they're not in jail. To try to just reverse the language of choice, reverse how they view us as staff and not look at us as correctional officers, or encouraging them to come and talk to us freely and openly versus feeling like I can only ask certain questions.
Life after prison is not that easy. Finding work can be difficult for an ex-offender who may face discrimination from potential employers and various licensing restrictions.
If you don't know about organizations and if you don't have anybody that's willing to actually help you, especially if you're actually trying to, then you will get discouraged and you will get defeated. That's one thing that I do like about the construction industry, that they actually don't look down upon you because you have a background. It is the most ex-offender friendly occupation or career choice that you can have.
So while I was incarcerated, I would often send letters to the apprenticeship training program center in Elk Grove Village for the carpenters, and asking them would they reinstate me, and they would always tell me when I came home to send them a letter and that they would set up a hearing for me to see if I can get back in. So those 3 months that I was like looking for work and couldn't find nothing, I had just finally said, you know what, I'm gonna send a letter to the office in Elk Grove to be reinstated into the apprenticeship program as a carpenter. And I sent the letter, and I was like really surprised that they responded with a hearing date. All throughout my bid, I went to school, maintained a job, what they call a detail. I remember a time in which I had got laid off, and I never even thought about this. Like, man, never crossed my mind a day while I was incarcerated. But the 2 months, I was laid off for 2 months, and I was so scared that I contemplated suicide.
It was scary. It was so scary starting out fresh because I felt like I was insecure a lot. I felt like didn't nobody understand my situation because everybody, the new people in my life, were living different than I was.
With commitment to education, skills training, and family support for inmates, we can reduce the burden of incarceration on our communities and our economy.
Loved ones can support individuals being released from prison by holding them accountable, helping them to become more responsible, reducing the enabling, and making sure that they have more positive resources of support versus negative resources. Otherwise, those individuals are more likely to go and do the same thing that they were doing prior to incarceration because it's easy, it's familiar, and it's comfortable.
Me, myself, don't want to ever have to go back to. And I encourage my younger brothers and sisters out here, especially my black brothers and sisters, man, the streets that ain't the life that we want to live. We can do better than what we doing. And just recently I bought a Greystone, 3-flat Greystone building, you know, after not even being home 4 years.
If you're a person that wants something out of life, you gotta surround yourself with people that's winning. You can't surround yourself with somebody who don't have no dreams, no ambition, because they're gonna pull you back down with them. It's like the crab effect. You put a lot of crabs in the bag, every time one come up, another one gonna pull them down. You don't want to be around that type of crowd.
Jail and stuff, in a lot of ways, set you up to fail when you get out here. And you have to stay ahead of the game of life, and you have to prepare yourself, you know, with a support team. Whenever you get a chance to get on the phone in the jails, you know, or pen and paper in your hand, write to some of these work programs in your community. Connect with someone, a community organizer, or someone that's positive, that's in tune with the community that can help you before you get there. You're running scared, you know, you run in trying to catch up with something that you think you missed, and you wind up back on that bunk again.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that feature. As you can see, the construction industry is an amazing vehicle to change lives. Here at Construction Cares, we are committed to supporting the most vulnerable members of that community, whether that means assistance with utility, union dues, or legal advice. We are here to provide a helping hand so that they may continue to focus on finding and maintaining viable employment to support themselves and their families. So make sure you go to www.constructioncare.org and hit that donate button. And on behalf of Communities Empowered Through Construction, Base Magazine, and of course, Construction Cares, we would like to wish you and your family a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.